Excuse me, I am weird. I know I am weird, but this is your dad.
The reason why some of y'all were so quick to jump to the conclusion that the dad at Starbucks holding his daughter's hands was a predator is because of the hatred that some of y'all have for men in general. Because here you have a dad at Starbucks with his daughter, waiting on coffee, holding his daughter's hand, and this woman walked up to him, recorded this man, and tried to label him a predator. So many people were in the comment section talking about this man. Someone had to find pictures showing that it's his daughter for y'all to stop attacking this man in the comment section. Also, they made hate groups for this man on Facebook, talking about him, trying to find his job, trying to get this man arrested for sitting in Starbucks with his daughter. And to the woman that recorded that video, I do understand that your intentions were good, but make sure before you do something like that, you know what you're talking about. Because, as you can see, you could potentially ruin somebody's life because of your assumptions. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments.
This is unbelievable. Like, shame on this woman. She should be held accountable for this. She has no idea what she's talking about. It's a father holding hands with his young daughter, and she wants to make it seem like he's a predator before she knows anything, and post it all over social media to get tons of hate, thousands of messages, because someone just wants to get likes. There's people out there that really do go after predators, and I'm so appreciative of them. But this right here, a father and his daughter, maybe the woman who did this, maybe you didn't have a father. Maybe that's why you think it's odd for a father to hold his teenage daughter's hand. It's not odd at all. Everybody commenting and hating, maybe you're fatherless. Maybe that's what it is. People need to mind their business sometimes. I feel so terrible for this little girl and her father. I couldn't imagine that happening. Unbelievable.
All right. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 7. It says, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first and then rebuke. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. Shalom to you brothers out there that are laboring, enduring the elements, making your body a living sacrifice, trying to seal the elect, making your call and election sure, seeking out your own salvation, as well as you sisters that are learning, listening, applying, being obedient to your husbands. Shalom, shalom. Again, it's Brother Zachariah coming back to you with another lesson here on this Sunday evening, and Lord willing, this be edifying. All right. So, pretty much today has been a busy day for me as far as like just, laundry, cleaning up my place, getting things together, I had this little, I guess, so-called holiday weekend, break, where you had some days off, but, finally, got a chance to, focus on cleaning and just getting my place together, which, hey, that's got to be done. So I was getting laundry and things knocked out. Still got to fold and put some things away, which I'll do that after I do this lesson. But I put a little food, fix a little something and put something in my stomach because, I really haven't ate all day, which that's kind of a good thing. I've been kind of like going on to like a fast. Now, I kind of like had a little something earlier, like a snack, but I didn't really eat. So I just fixed a nice little meal after getting all that laundry done and, some cleaning, which I still got a little bit more to do. But I said I wanted to get into a lesson, which the clip you saw in the beginning, that inspired me to do this lesson because this could be a problem, or it is a problem even amongst our people. And I'm not saying like in the truth, but, you could have it in the truth as well. But that's the primary focus, is warning our people that come into this faith and this truth. One of the things we want to be mindful of is not to be in everybody's business, going about like a busybody, which the scriptures warn about that. But going about being in everybody's business, who, what, when, where, this person doing, that person doing, and meddling in many matters, which we're going to get into that in this in the Bible and see if the Bible condemns it or if it just says, hey, you can do those things. All right. But here, the scriptures here in Sirach, which I just read, 11 and verse 7, it says, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. All right. Understand first and then rebuke. So, again, you see in the clip, the woman, I guess what you would call like a rebuke. She was going over there making assumptions that this man was with this young girl. All right. Thinking like they were some kind of couple because they were holding hands. Which, hey, it could just now be seeing his daughter that he hasn't seen in years, or they could have been praying together. You never know. and she just made an assumption. And that happens a lot with a lot of these women out here, just in everybody's business, what this person's doing, that person doing. And they want to see the bad and everything. All right. I did some, just showing you an example of how people look for, this shows you how people are really watching your page, but they only look for drama. All right. I've been posting all kinds of biblical stuff, even on Facebook. Nobody likes my posts on there, because my Facebook is literally set up for my family, because they don't do Instagram. They don't do YouTube. They don't do all these other platforms. So I kept that one to push the gospel. They follow me. They was looking, so they follow me on there. Some follow me on Instagram, but most of them are on my Facebook. They do Facebook. So with that, I have a page set up. I push the truth. I make it public so the truth goes out, because it's supposed to go out throughout the four corners of the earth. However, I do got it with the intent of, maybe my family, they might hear it and hearken. And but when like certain things get posted, like as far as the biblical stuff, they ignore it. But then one time I did like some AI art, and it was like a AI art of like me, pretty much dressed in regal kingdom like attire, and I'm holding a newborn son, because that's one of the goals. I would love to have children, especially in the kingdom to come. So I had that picture. Actually, I'll take that back. Salakia. I did do some pictures of that, but it was actually a regular picture because, they saw me. I had like the Indiana cap on, white T-shirt, whatever. And so they saw it, and it looked so real. It looked real. But everybody was jumping in my messaging me, talking about congratulations. And I'm over here like, congratulations for what? So I told them that, hey, man, this is AI. It was AI art. And they were like, oh, okay. But it was crazy that they all came on there looking at that, like, oh, he got a son, he got a child, but they not, they wasn't looking at the fact that, hey, I've been pushing this truth. But that shows you that they're watching your page. All right. So, they looking for some type of drama or something they can gossip on, because even with that, they can run with that. Hey, I know so-and-so got a son now. He got a child. Who's his woman? Who he with? That's the way people are around here. They in the town that I'm in, it's very small and people gossip, But it is what it is. But again, with this, all right, it was a crazy situation because, like I said, the brother that he started, doing like a commentary after that, showing that clip, and was like, maybe she didn't grow up with a father or something, and that could be a case too, But some people are just damn nosy, man. Okay. So if she was examined the whole thing, then it could come out, hey, that was actually, a father with his daughter, and they was having a moment, in a restaurant. Okay. Clearly she was happy and with her father. But hey, but again, blame not before thou has examined the truth, understand first, and then rebuke. All right. Now I want to bring out another precept here. Let's see. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5 and verse 20. It says, neither shall there bear false witness against thy neighbor, because she took it a step further and went all on, social media with it. They said, and create a page, like a hate page on this guy. And I can only imagine if there's a page on me, the fact that I've been pushing this gospel and everything, I could only imagine if there's a page out there, talking about me and saying, I'm this, I'm that, and woo, woo, woo. I could see all that happening, but, I don't care. We know that we're going to be hated of all men for his name's sake. And whose name is that? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay. Because this world don't know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's why, you're going to be hated for his name's sake. Because you're pushing the true gospel, the truth, not that world friendly gospel, that is not of the scriptures. All right. But again, Deuteronomy 5 and verse 20 says, neither shall there bear false witness against thy neighbor, which a lot of that happens. I've had people bear false witness on me. People have said things, calling me an agent, said I wasn't a man of the Lord. Hey, I had a Eve. She got disgruntled, which I think she got some kind of mental thing, because she was getting the art, which I did a rebuke on her, but she was getting the art, which I don't mind that. But she messaged me every time she was getting all the pictures, and then she kept saying, like, and it got to like the third or fourth time she was like, "Oh man, I just love your pictures. I got all of them. I'm getting all of them." And I'm like, okay, I just thought that was kind of creepy and weird, for you to keep saying, like, that was like the third or fourth time she said that. So I started to ask some questions, which I can't remember all the details, but I was going into it. And the next thing you know, I was like, what's your intent with these pictures then? You're getting all these pictures. Are you using them to spread the word, or what's going on? And and one thing led to another, but then she started trying to, what are you, AI? You're AI. I'm gonna tell everybody about you. And she just started going crazy. And I was like, AI? I ain't no AI. What are you talking about? I'm like, lady, you bugged out. And I ended up blocking her, and then she got rebuked. But it's hey, it's some crazy stuff. But people will bear false witness on you and say things that ain't true. They don't know the whole matter of things. They just, so it could be somebody that's just disgruntled, or they just have animosity towards you. Which I always said, I just think it's kind of strange somebody could even say anything about me in this thing, because I literally mind my business. Like, I don't even jump from page to page seeing what this brother or this sister's doing. If their stuff pops up in my news feed, and there's somebody that shows love on my page, I'm gonna show love back. You give, and I'm gonna give back as well. But I show love, especially you see other brothers doing art, and I like their pictures and stuff like that, and show a comment. I don't do the most. I'm not in everybody's business, what you doing, what you got going on, none of that. Just show love, and that's it. But some people, will sit and watch you and then try to look for a reason to try to, discredit you out of this truth. All right. And you got a lot of time on your hand to be sitting there doing that. I can't be like that. Now, if something comes up and it's not right, and then you let them know, like, hey, that's not, you going off, that's not right, and stuff like that. And a righteous brother or sister were going to be appreciative of that. They'll apologize, and then make that right with Yahweh Shem Shai, repenting and stuff, and not to do that again. All right. But some people be looking for something, and then they'll try to tear you down after that. Like, you do something, like if it was up to them, they'll been done rule you out of it. Some have, but it's not up to them. It's up to Yahweh Shem Shai. All right. But yeah, it says, not a shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor. All right. So that's a heavy thing. All right. The scriptures go into about children. Children are, it's a blessing, having children. All right. And we know that in the kingdom to come, a little one's going to become 1,000. Okay. So, and we look forward to that. All right. But this is the book of Psalms 127 and verse 3. It says, lo, children are a heritage of the Lord Yahweh, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. So yeah, it's a blessing to have children. Even Yahweh told the earth, the people of the earth, hey, be fruitful and multiply. Okay, replenish the earth. Okay, this is the book of Sirach 25 and verse 7. It says, there be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th will I utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, which that's the key part I want to highlight in this. A man that have joy of his children. And they both looked real happy. The girl looked happy. She was with her father. Like I said, I don't know if maybe he was just, maybe he was getting just spending that quality time with his daughter, and they were happy, seeing each other. All right. There's a lot of people, the curses is that, your father wouldn't be there. A lot of us didn't grow up with our fathers. Now, I didn't grow up with mine. Now, however, I did have them in my life. I eventually, learned about my father and, met him and everything. I ain't gonna say everything has been, peaches and cream. Everything's been okay. But, at the end of the day, he's still my father. And I did let him know numerous times that I love him and I still care about him, but it is what it is. When you coming into this truth, you truly understand the curses. It makes sense of why people are the way they are and the way they move and they act, even with my mother, we don't have the best relationship, I love her and she loves me too. She'll hit me up and tell me, but of course, she doesn't agree with the truth, that we're a part of, as well as my father. They're just out here in the world, they're like complete zombies, but they've been blinded by the God of this world. All right. Which the God of this world is not, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right. But it is what it is. That's why the Bible says, blessed are your eyes for they see and your ears for they hear. Okay. But again, it says, a man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemies, which that'll be a thing too. Now I'm sure he don't wish bad on that woman, but the fact that, like, damn, you slander my name and plaster me all on social media, trying to make me out to be this predator and things that I'm not, but that happens a lot, even out here in Babylon the Great. Okay. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 13 says, a foolish woman is clamorous. That word clamorous goes into loud, being loud, man. Okay. She is simple and knoweth nothing. Okay. And we know the scriptures also go into how Yahweh Shem Yahushua has deprived her of that wisdom. Okay. That's why it's very important to have a man. Where's your man at? Why? Because if she had a man, her man more than likely wouldn't have told her to be doing that. A real man wouldn't. Hey, man, stay out of that. That's none of our business. What are you doing? Okay. Because if she had that wisdom, she would know this, which I read it in Deuteronomy, but this is here in Exodus, which is part of our law. But again, Exodus 20 and 16, which says what we read in Deuteronomy. It says, thou should not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Hey, plain and simple, and that's what that woman did. So she looks stupid when it's all said and done. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 25. All right. In verse 24, it says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. See that? And this is a prime example, moving about in that way. She's way out of order. Okay. Again, where's your husband? Because like I said, if she was with a man, a true man of the Lord, he would have, hey, what are you doing? We can't be doing this. It's none of our business. I saw, and the thing about it is when you meddle with Many Matters, man, it could come back to bite you. There was one where a guy, I wish I had that article, but there was an article where it was a fight broke out. I can't remember where it took place, but a guy was trying to break up a fight, and he ends up losing his life trying to break up a fight, And it's like, damn, but when you meddle in it, like, hey, it's none of my business. Okay. Which this is Sirach 11 and 9. While we're on that matter right there, this says, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not. See that? And sit not in the judgment with sinners. Okay. But the point, look, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not. That was none of her concern. What are you doing in that? Okay. Verse 10, it says, my son. Okay. But in this case, my daughter, hey, meddle not with many matters. For if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, all right, thou shalt not obtain. Neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. Now, because the scope going to be put on you. When you start doing all that, now the scope is put on you, then you get found out. And now when it took somebody researching and looking and seeing, hey, that's his daughter, And so they plastered that and showed it, because they went on a smear campaign on that guy. Okay. And that happens all the time. I've seen all kinds of people's stuff being plastered. There was a dude, matter of fact, he was one of my neighbors. He's no longer living now, but he was on that sex offender list, and so he was plastered all over Facebook. They plastered his stuff all on Facebook and everything. And I was like, damn, that's crazy, But they did that. I had I ain't gonna mention my cousin's name, but I had a cousin. He got arrested for selling drugs on a near a school. All right, and his mugshot was plastered all over Facebook. Okay, so that shows you, man. Hey, you never know. All right, and don't be surprised when that's done unto the men of the Lord. We're simply, what they done, those acts that they done, yeah. You do stuff like that, and that shame will get plastered. But however, we're coming into a time where the wicked stuff is going to be, looked at as good. Good is bad, and bad is good. That's the times we're in now. So now us bringing out this truth, this gospel, preaching this word, that's what's going to be condemned. That's what's going to be looked at as evil, okay, in the sights of these people, because they don't have the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right. This is Sirach 26 and verse 14. It says, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. She's silent. All right. Loving woman. All right. Mind your own business, man. Be quiet. You know, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. Okay. This is the book of Titus, chapter 2, starting at verse 3. It says, the aged woman likewise that be in behavior as become of holiness. See, look at this. Not false accusers, not giving too much wine, which, you know, obviously that woman in the clip, she definitely full of that Babylon wine, because you thinking that it's okay to go about, you know, moving like that. Okay. Look, teachers of good things. Verse 4, it says that they may teach the young woman to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children. And this guy, clearly he's showing love to his children. Okay, or to his daughter in this case. All right. And then you come over with that. It's like, dang, you can't even do that. You know, there's people, there actually are single fathers that's raising up their daughters. I have a coworker. She no longer works at my job, but, you know, she's a nosy one. And she got a neighbor, and he was very kind unto her. But she was, you know, he would cut their grass if they needed it and stuff. But he moved into the house next door to them, and he moved in and he had his daughter with him. So it's just him and his daughter. So, you know, she was looking all kind of funny because it's just them. Like, you know, it's not, you know, it's okay when you see a single mother raising children, but a single father having his daughter, like, you don't know, maybe the wife might have died giving labor. You know, those things has happened. And, you know, but she was like, kind of like, she was telling me about it. And casting judgment and stuff. And I'm thinking like, dang, you don't know them like that. Even though this dude was doing all these kind things and like, yeah, you know, he's got this, and supposedly it's his daughter, you know. So I'm like, what do you suppose? You thinking like, you know, he's some weirdo with, you know, a young girl with him or something, you know, just, you know, already thoughts like that be going in their head, you know, and that's just crazy. But verse 4 says that they may teach young women to be sober, all right, to love their husbands, all right, to love their children. All right, verse 5, it says to be discreet, chaste, all right, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands. See that? That the word of Yahweh be not blasphemed, okay? So that's where you should be, all right? But that woman was clearly going off, all right? But, you know, again, like I was reading earlier, all right, how, you know, you have that joy, you know, of your children, but also to live to see the fall of your enemies, which this woman was moving like an enemy. You know, you was trying to destroy that man. OK, you know, and that's terrible. All right. That's why the scriptures talk about, you know, rise up, ye women that are at ease, man. OK, because, hey, the Heavenly Father is going to start stripping you of everything in this wicked ass kingdom that's falling anyways. All right. But this is Micah 7 and 10. I'll go ahead and close it out with this. And I pray it's been an edifying lesson. And it says, then she that is my enemy shall see it, you know, because that judgment is going to come upon you, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy power? My eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. Call all Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. And shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. And to the next one, shalom.